You almost couldn't get one out there. It was so difficult you getting one.
Welcome back to another episode of Repressed Humor Issues. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dan, wondering why Ryan is doing narrator voice.
Old dark world.
So I have to tell you, I'm sorry.
For
wrecking what would have been the best present ever. So Ryan has
the fucking OC poster.
So Ryan put something up on Facebook Marketplace earlier today, and he gave away what it is. It was a framed OC, the TV show poster. And I thought to myself, I should buy that and then have him ship it to me, then ship it back as his Christmas present. I thought that would be hilarious, but I have nobody to check with right at the second to see if it was hilarious. And then I sent it to you thinking, yeah, I'm not going to do it because it's probably going to sound stupid. And you said it was brilliant and evil, and I realized I wrecked it.
Yeah.
I just fucking wrecked it.
Legitimately, that was that would have been an absolutely hilarious bit to buy my shit to send it back to me. Oh my God, I'd be so pissed.
Yes. It probably would have cost me more in shipping to get it here and then get it to your place, but it would have been worth it.
That frame is 40 and a half by 28 and a half. It's not small.
So realize I've done stuff like this to people before. One of my daughter's exes had this bad habit of fainting, falling down and hitting his head. So I went out and bought some bubble wrap and some elastic bands and wrote out the instructions on how to make an anti-concussion kit. And it started with rolling out a big enough piece of the bubble wrap to wrap around your head, cutting eye holes and a mouth hole so you can breathe, and then using the elastic bands to hold it to your head. And it cost me like $15 for the stuff, and it cost me $45 to ship it to where I had to ship it to. And the guys at UPS laughed so hard when I told them what was in that box.
That is dedication.
Yes.
That is dedication.
That's taking a bit too far, but at the same time, not too far.
Oh, I think it's the appropriate amount. I mean, that's like when I shipped my friend over in England a bag of miniature penises with arms and legs. And I think I shared this story with you, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I timed it very well because I had Amazon Prime in the UK. Don't ask me how or why, but I did. And it was one of those that I could get there in a 2-hour window or something like that. And I knew she was leaving at a certain time. And the window was right before she was going to leave. It literally arrived. They dropped it in her post box and she just grabbed it on her way out, put it in her bag, and then hopped on the train to wherever. And then she and her husband are sitting there and she opens it. It's like, I think it was 5,000 miniature. And I'm talking like maybe a quarter of an inch big little miniature rubber penises, like 5,000 of them in a bag. And she just lost it because some of them scattered, like they trickled out because there's just so many in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we did a white elephant gift. We were supposed to spend no more than $10. I got my ex-sister-in-law before she was ex-sister-in-law. And she said she just wanted Skittles because they were her favorite candy. So what she expected was a couple of bags of Skittles. Yeah. What I did was I cut open the bags of Skittles. There's 155 Skittles. I remember that number because I cut out of wrapping paper 155 little pieces of wrapping paper and individually wrapped 155 Skittles. Put them back in the bags they came from, put that in a box and sent that to her. So she had to unwrap, like I taped them like you would tape a present. So she had to like rip open the packaging on 155 individual Skittles to open them.
Wait, how many Skittles come in a normal bag?
So it's 3 bags. So I'm guessing there's a rough average of 50 per bag.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, but never figured that out.
That was like 6 hours of wrapping. You talk about dedication to a bit. That's dedication to a bit when you're in hour 4 and realize you've still got 2 hours left because you're only 2/3 of the way through. When you've wrapped 100 individual Skittles and realize I have to still do 50 more.
I think I could do that though. I think I could actually, but like,
I
Skittles
built
is
a
hilarious.
process. I built a process for it.
You have to. You have to have some sort of system.
Yeah, I had my cutting, exactly how wide and long I had to make each piece. I had all the tape set to be pre-cut. I knew the exact length that I needed. So I would have tape available and I'd wrap like 10 at a time. It was the folding of the paper over the Skittle that was the really horrible part of that.
You must be very dexterous because that is some serious digit work.
That there's a reason I play hockey. Yes. So we got to move on with the show.
Yeah, but what would be smaller? Nerds.
Oh, could you imagine having to wrap individual nerds?
No.
There'd just be no way.
No way.
So we got to move on with the show because there's a big event this week that we're absolutely not going to talk about.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Did not happen. We don't care.
Who?
So we have an idea for the show today. We're going to call it, this is our palate cleanse. This is our way to not talk about it. And as usual, we're going to have Stephen Hawking tell us what exactly the word of the day is.
The word of the day is simulation.
Yes, simulation. Not stimulation, because I know that's where you went first.
You vetoed that option, so I tried.
Yes. So what we're going to talk about today, and Ryan and I have opposing viewpoints on this, is the concept of us living in a simulation. Everything that we feel, that we touch, is not actually real. We are living in some sort of computer simulation.
Yeah, we do. For sure.
And Ryan believes that we do, and I don't believe that we are. So we're going to present our cases and critique each other's cases on why we are not living in a simulation, because that's what it's going to end up being in the end.
So do me a favor. Do you have short sleeves or long sleeves on right now?
Long sleeves.
Okay, so roll up your left sleeve for me. I'll do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Left sleeve.
Now, about right before your elbow on your forearm, right where it's meaty on top, do you have a dot? A birthmark?
I have lots of dots. I'm covered in them.
Okay. So, like, this one right here, that's mine, right?
Yeah.
Every guy that I do this to.
Oh, I don't want to hear how you're pressing my buttons here.
I'm going to loosen up your buttons, baby. Song reference. Anyway, every person I talk to has one. That is the start of the simulation.
That's genetics.
That we all have one, no matter what race, background, or anything we have.
Yes. That's just genes. We all come from a common ancestor. And that common ancestor probably had a reason why there's a birthmark in that one spot, and we all have them.
Yeah, 1100100101.
Okay. You don't even know what that translates to.
No.
You don't even remember what you said.
I just 3-1 started it.
Yes. Well, I've got a fact for you that provides the opposing point of view. I looked this up earlier. So for a simulation to exist, it can't just exist in the small bubble of the Earth. Okay, we know there's things beyond the Earth. We've sent things beyond the Earth. So we know that if it was a simulation, it has to be a simulation that encompasses the entire known universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a prediction by a gentleman by the name of Eddington that there are 2 times 10 to the 22nd stars in our universe. If you averaged it out based off of the weight of our sun. Okay, so that's 2 times 10 with 22 zeros afterward. Okay, if you take that and say, okay, what is the electron mass of every single star in the known universe? Okay, and that is 1.515 times 10 to the 79th. That's 79 zeros after the 1.719.
Okay.
Okay. That's just the number of protons. There are an equal number of electrons. That is the weight of the universe. To have a computer simulation that was running this, it would have to be able to understand the interactions of every single proton and electron that we can possibly weigh in the universe.
Yeah, but if it's a predicted simulation, it would already have that pre-programmed and already know that.
But the amount of power that it would take to be able to do that simulation, the energy that it would take is more energy than exists in the universe. Because
your simulated mind.
So are you disputing the fact that there are 1.719 times 10 to the 79th? Wait, I'm getting the wrong number there. Sorry, it's 2.598 times 10 to the 79th protons and an equal number of electrons in the universe.
That's what the simulation wanted you to believe.
So what you're going to say is, without proof, that the simulation has to exist.
Physical proof. I gave you physical proof. I mean,
and I explained it. It's genetics.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense.
Have you gone to every human being on Earth and verified that they have that dot there?
I'm 6 away.
6 or sex?
6.
6. Okay, I'm just making sure, because if you're 6 away from those 6, I want to be one of those 6. Just so you're aware.
I don't even know what that means now.
Okay, so
but what about like the different glitches that we've all experienced on some level?
Tell me a glitch.
My computer just glitched. Does that count?
No, that's just technology. That's the way technology works.
Very odd timing.
That's just the government spying on you. That's all that is. Stop going to wikifeet.com.
What? No.
Stop going to wikifeet.com.
It's feetfinder.com. I only go for the page.
No. Wikifeet.com, they rate everybody's feet.
Is that like ratemypoo.com but for
yes,
feet?
But for feet. Yes. So I saw this on a TikTok. They were talking about it. One person said, I'm a 4.5 on WikiFeet. And this other guy is saying, "What? How could you be that? You know, like people are staring at your feet." And while they were doing that, the producers looked him up, and he had a 4.98 out of 5.
Wait, is it only celebrities? Oh no,
yes.
There's feet.
Anybody's feet that they find, they will rate on wikifeet.com.
My algorithm is going to be so fucked now. Because I just searched for foot, and there's a feet of the week, Heidi Klum. Oh, God, this is I don't like feet at all. Oh, gross. Come on.
I just ruined Ryan's day. It's perfect.
Oh, this is totally derailed all my thinking. Oh, sorry. Now the woman's talking to me about her feet. Jesus. The fucking link on accident.
So we both watched the exact same Black Mirror, is it? I can never remember the name of that show.
Yeah, Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror. And they do a good job of explaining simulations. There's one episode where these people meet for a date, and then they spend time together, and then they immediately go on another date with somebody else and have a predetermined amount of time they have to spend together. And the woman gets like a night and then a day, and the guy gets like 6 months with this woman that he has to live with essentially.
Oh, okay.
In the, well, you've seen it. You remember the episode.
Yeah.
It turns out that it's all a dating app where you find out if the person is compatible with you by the fact that you try to escape the bounds of the app with that person, and then they match you together in real life.
Huh.
It's a beautiful concept for a simulation. But here's the problem with it. There has to be multiple simulations running at the same time for it to work.
Unless it's just one large simulation.
But then you couldn't have the option of free will that you could then create into a multiverse, which we pretty much are sure at this point there is a multiverse, which means that...
But wait, but what if it's all, again, part of the simulation? I know it's such a bullshit response, but what if it's all stuff that was pre-programmed for you to totally believe and fall into and think that there is a multiverse and things to that nature?
So your response to anything that I'm going to say is, it's just all in your head.
No.
Okay.
It's a simulation.
That is running and putting these ideas into my head. You're not coming up with these ideas out of free will. You're coming up with these ideas because the simulation told you to.
That's the essence of a simulation. See, it just made you cough off camera.
Maybe I'm coughing because I was the dumbass that went and played hockey while my throat was still developing more phlegm than anybody should ever have developed at any one time.
God, the things that I learn about your bodily chemistry is just...
Hey, wow. I played a hard game. We lost 4-2. They scored twice with like 5 minutes left in the third period, but I have 6 goals in 5 games. How many hockey goals do you have in your life?
Do I get to count EA Sports?
No.
Then none.
So, I can remember goals that I've scored from when I was 6 years old. I can't remember scoring any goals before that, but that was mostly because I only went to the practices. I didn't go to the games because my parents were never available to drive me at the times that the games actually happened. And to be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't that great of a player at 6 years old anyways.
I don't think there's any kid that's great at anything at 6 years old. Like, truly.
Oh, I bet you if we asked your father, he would say you were amazing at being annoying. And what you forget is that your dad said something to you on Facebook the other day. So I now know how to contact your father. Yes. It dawns on him. Oh, shit.
Well, like, because I have to approve anything that somebody tags me in for it to be posted on my page.
Yes.
That was the birthday message. Yeah.
I wasn't going to mention what it was. You mentioned it, but yeah, I now know your dad's name. I have a way to be able to get a hold of him.
At least his Facebook profile has chilled the fuck out from what it once was.
So now you're trying to distract from the fact that I'm saying I have the free will to be able to contact your father. It's not the simulation telling me I can contact your father. I have the free will. I have the choice to be able to contact your father whenever I want, because as much as you can remove me from your Facebook, you'd have to remove my wife as well.
Well, I'm just trying to see what he said. Oh.
Yes, he outed you.
Well,
as his son.
You could have scrolled back in time on my
But
feed.
I didn't have to. It happened right in front of my face. I never thought about it until I saw it. The simulation didn't put that in front of me. My free will to determine what I was going to do with it told me that I was in the right place at the right time. The simulation had nothing to do with it.
So do you want to send him the OC poster?
No. I'm thinking of much worse things that I could send him and put your return address on.
You don't have my new address.
Oh, but anything I put is going to get forwarded. So all I have to do is send you something first, and it's going to get forwarded. And if I send it certified, I can track it. See, I know how to do things. Plus, you sent me the pictures of your new house. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't know what street it's on.
You sent me the MLS listing.
Oh, fuck.
So I can find the address. See, the simulation didn't make you stupid.
I didn't know you were going to have this plan.
I didn't know I was going to have this plan until it all fell together today. It just all came together.
See, this is part of the simulation, just fucking with me at this point.
Okay, but I'm enjoying it too much for it to be a simulation.
It allows you to enjoy it. You don't know what it wants you to
I
feel
have
or not.
the free will to determine that I want to enjoy it. Nothing is telling me that I can enjoy it besides the dopamine and the endorphins in my brain.
But do you believe that there is something to say that some of our life is pre-programmed?
No.
Truman Show is not the best example. Matrix would be a better example.
And what did we find out about the Matrix?
That he knows
You could
Kung Fu?
you could reject the programming.
Oh, wait, I haven't seen the most recent one.
The very first one is where he rejects the programming.
Right.
You take the red pill, you're rejecting it. It's free will to do it. You're escaping the Matrix through your own free will.
Did you take a red pill?
Actually, yeah, I did earlier because my throat was bugging me and I took a red pill just by coincidence. Quercetin HBP, cold and flu. So.
What did you just say? What words? HBP?
Yeah, that's for high blood pressure.
Oh.
I
And that
can't.
helps with your throat?
Yeah, because it's an expectorant.
Oh. Who
Yes.
doesn't like an expectorant?
Oh, God, you're going to have a new nickname now, aren't you? The expectorant.
It sounds like a great title for a movie. Like it should have been.
I don't know. Would you really want a movie where somebody's just coughing up phlegm the entire movie? Like, imagine Casablanca. Such a great movie, but the entire time he's just hacking up phlegm.
Well, isn't Mario more or less an expectorant?
Mario?
When he gets the fireballs, doesn't he shoot those out of his mouth?
I don't remember him shooting them out of his mouth.
Why don't? Is there out of his hand? Maybe it's Yoshi that does it out of his mouth.
Okay. So you want to rename Yoshi the expectorant. You want a movie just of Yoshi going around and coughing up fireballs on people.
Kirby could be that too.
What would Princess Peach's name be?
The Expectress? Wait, I don't know. She
doesn't fire fireballs.
Yeah,
She's going to be Princess Peach. See, now I'm starting only to believe that we're in a simulation by how stupid the simulation made you.
But Princess Peach can't have a different name. Why would you give her
I
a
just
different name?
said she doesn't need a different name. I said her name would be Princess Peach. You're the one that took it
I was trying to think of something.
Yes, because you didn't think of the question, because you immediately went to the answer. You don't ask, why is somebody asking me this question? You don't think, is somebody setting this up? If you were in a simulation, you would have learned by now to ask why to the question that you don't understand why it's being asked. My point is proven.
I was more curious to try to answer it than to ask why. I was ready to just move forward with it.
Because you haven't learned.
No, I've learned plenty.
What have you learned?
Just eager in life.
Okay.
Eager to find answers or give answers, even if they're wrong, so I can continue to learn more.
So if you were in a simulation, wouldn't you just learn what they wanted you to learn?
Unless that's not part of my simulation.
But if it's a simulation, they control all aspects of you.
Sure. Oh,
which
man.
means curiosity itself would be a byproduct of the simulation. Are you saying you can't be naturally curious? Somebody had to program it into you?
It by definition of a simulation.
So
We'd all be programmed. We would
so-
all be programmed.
So you believe that things like curiosity and attraction and hunger and longing can all be programmed in on such a mass scale, knowing that of those 10 to the 22 stars.
Look at The Sims, the game The Sims. It's a loose example, but they have different times where they ebb and flow through different emotions and physical reactions, and
that can all be taken to the point that it's rote pattern. There's no variability to the pattern. You are
haven't
directly.
played The Sims recently. Then The Sims has evolved.
I played The Sims like probably 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's been 15 years of evolution.
As soon as the first one had a baby and then shit themselves, I was done with that game. I didn't need that game anymore.
I'll be honest, I don't know anyone that plays it right now.
I don't know why anybody was. Every single time I see it on my Google Play, I skip right by it because it's just not worth it.
It's like what's the one Dwight plays? Second Life?
Second Life. Oh, I played a lot of Second Life for about 6 months.
But it's the same thing, more or less.
You're clicking and pointing, but there's less rote pattern to it. If you have NPCs, which some people eventually built NPCs into Second Life, then those went based off of complete rote pattern. They did not have any variability to them whatsoever. And any variability that you see in a sim character at this point, honestly, is still pattern oriented, because they have a certain amount of time they have to eat within. They have a certain amount of time they have to shit within. They have a certain amount of time that they have to have interactions with other people. It's always based off of, there's a bar that says where they are in certain emotions.
The only thing that falls apart for me when it comes to a simulation is, if we are in a simulation, why did they program in time wasters like taking a shit?
Well, because I'm arguing your point all of a sudden. Okay. But if that's the only thing that you're worried about, and you're not worried about the natural curiosity that every single one of us has to some degree, the desire to learn, the desire to procreate, the desires that ebb and flow at different points in our life that are not pattern oriented, but you think we can't be in a simulation because we shit? That is the weakest argument I've ever heard.
It's not. It's the wondering why they would incorporate that if it is a simulation.
Because all they're doing in all the simulation is, when we think we're shitting, because we're not really doing it according to the simulation, they are harvesting whatever actually happens in our body to study us, to study the outcropping.
Well, I guess that's an interesting thing that you said that I don't think you picked up on. Who?
Good point. Who would think that a simulation this size would be a good idea? That's a good point. You're arguing for my side, though. You're supposed to be arguing for your side.
Well, it dawned on me in this moment.
So let me put it this way. If there's a who, the only way there's a who is if we believe that there's something beyond our universe, which means there's a multiverse. Would you agree with that supposition has to be there for us to be alive in a simulation?
I'll entertain it.
Okay? Because otherwise, they have to live within our universe. And to live within our universe, they either have to be one of us, which, realize, one of us is, there's whatever 2.519 times 10 to the 22nd stars. Let's say 1% of those have rocky planets around them, and 1% of that has the ability to be able to host non-frozen water, and 1% of that has the ability to be able to support any form of life, and 1% of that has the ability to house intelligent life, we're still talking 1 times 10 to the 12 planets hosting intelligent life.
Still wondering the who more
Well,
than
what
the
I'm saying
where.
is they either exist outside of the simulation, looking in, never interfering with it.
They would have to live outside, right?
Then
Whomever
there
it is
has
or
then
whatever
there
it
has to
was.
be a multiverse. There has to be the universe that we are believing we are in, and then something outside of that that exists that makes a multiverse. So if there's a multiverse, okay,
But wait, hold on. Is it technically a multiverse if it's a simulation? I don't think so, because then that's just something they built within their own universe.
but it's still a universe
Only
unless you believe that everything that we see that says that stars are moving away from us faster and faster, that the Hubble constant is actually just finding out what this data from random pieces of data that they've put out there that perfectly calculate to within, a bad percentage point, how fast the universe is growing. I'm muting because of this dang cough still happening. So
I saw it.
But you would have to believe that they've built the perfect simulation because we have yet to find the flaw. And that means
I exist in it. There is a flaw.
Okay, you're the perfect flaw then.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I figured you'd take it that way. But look at it this way. To be able to, let's talk about this from an AI perspective. And I'm actually going to reference AI as a proxy for what is machine learning. When you do machine learning, what you do is you run, let's say, 10,000 simulations, and then average out all those simulations to find out if your algorithm worked properly or not, to see if they fall within the bounds of whatever your confidence interval is on your stat that you're working on. Okay? Would you believe that on the first shot, they got the entire simulation right?
I mean, we have no way to know that.
But if they didn't, that means they had to run through many, 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 many simulations to be able to get it right. Because at the dawn of the universe, the only reason that the universe existed is because there is just enough more matter to cancel out the total amount of antimatter, plus a little bit. Okay? That's the only reason that the Big Bang works, and that we see what we see in the universe is there was slightly more matter than antimatter. It's called asymmetry. Now, for them to even find that balance, okay, if there was a little bit more hydrogen, okay, everything would have collapsed very quickly into one giant ball. There never would have been the expansion from the Big Bang. If there was slightly less hydrogen, there wouldn't have been the gravitational attraction to be able to pull it together to create the stars. It was a perfect amount to be able to generate just enough gravity to be able to let everything expand, but then start forming stars, dust, all the elements that we see today. Tell me how they would have gotten that perfect in one simulation.
Because every construct that you just mentioned is things that you were told to believe and understand and accept. Even though they're scientifically proven in this simulation, it doesn't mean anything outside of the simulation. Anything within this simulation, hydrogen, oxygen, atoms, whatever it might be, is true.
You didn't
in this
understand any of the science I just gave you, did you?
Doesn't matter. I'm trying to make the point of...
Yes, but I'm trying to get everybody to understand that you didn't get what I said.
Not completely, but I was following along for the majority. But the point being is that anything that you just said could still be true in the simulation. Yes. But as
So
soon
in
as you step
theory,
out, they could have gold could be the measure of oxygen that we take in. It could be whatever they want.
that makes absolutely no sense.
Exactly, because
What
it's
you just
not
said.
because it's not part of your simulation.
Okay. So I have free will within my simulation, right?
So says you.
So if I raise my arm right now, that's because I was told to in the simulation.
It was pre-programmed.
Okay. It was the simulation told me to do that. Okay. So what you're saying is that everything that would happen in the simulation has been pre-programmed. And for that to happen, they don't need the simulation because they already would have known what the answer at the end of the simulation is, because I don't have free will to be able to make choices, to make weird noises and raise my arm when I want to. It's programmed in already.
I can't explain why they did it or who they are.
So I can explain the science of the universe. I can explain the Hubble constant.
As it pertains to this
I can
simulation,
I can explain quantum mechanics. I can explain the Big Bang Theory. I can explain entropy in the universe and how trillions of years from now that mass is all going to have turned to energy and we're going to be living in a cold universe because none of the mass is going to exist. It's all going to have split because that's the entropy of the universe. But what you can't explain is who would make it a simulation, why they would make it a simulation, where that simulation is existing from.
How would I know?
And how it works.
It's not something that I've been allowed to know.
But that predisposes the fact that everything that we know had to have already been programmed in. And if everything
Correct.
we know had already been programmed in, why would they need the simulation? Because they already know the end result.
We don't know what kind of experiment they're running. Maybe they have an idea. Maybe they're trying to do something bigger that's beyond our realm of comprehension.
But without free will, without me being able to make choices, if they're all pre-programmed, then they have a goal in mind. And that goal has already been achieved.
We don't know. What if it hasn't?
Well, but then if I don't have free will, they have to have, because they've programmed in the history and the future of every single thing.
I didn't say they couldn't be living in a free world, free will. Said
Yeah,
we.
but
the question was we.
But I'm saying us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're saying that everything that I know, everything that I do, every choice that I make is pre-programmed because that's part of the simulation. That means that would mean that we are living in a movie, not a simulation, because a simulation assumes that there can be different endings. But according to you, it's the same ending. We are living in a movie, not a simulation, according to you.
It's still a simulation. I think that
no, a simulation would be, I have a starting point and I want to see where the ending point is. A movie is when you already know the end and you write everything to get yourself there.
Then we're in a movie, which is still a simulation.
It's not a simulation.
I'm going to Google the word simulation.
Okay, so a movie could be referenced as a simulation of real life. Okay, but it's not a simulator. You can't have different endings to the movie. In a simulator, which is what would drive a simulation, you would have different endings possible based off of different criteria. But the movie always ends the same according to the way that movies are. There's a script. And what you said earlier is there is a script that says everything that I'm going to do through my entire lifetime for every single thing that exists in whatever we can call our universe.
Mm-hmm.
You type so loud.
I can't help that this keyboard's that awesome.
Yeah. See, they programmed you so you didn't know what the word awesome meant either.
Awesome.
So, have you found out what simulation means?
Simulation is an imitative representation of a process or system that could exist in the real world.
Okay.
It's the definition.
Okay.
Or Wikipedia. But
look up simulator. I can't believe people are having to listen to you type to find the definition of a simulator.
what? Oh, okay. Sorry, I pulled up a bunch of video game things.
Of course. You want to know why? Because video games, you get a choice on what you want to do inside the simulator.
It's a machine with a similar set of controls designed to provide a realistic imitation of an operation of a vehicle, aircraft, or other complex system used for training purposes.
Right. So the idea is you give it an input in the simulator and it shows you the end result. What you're saying is the end result is already predetermined because I don't have free will to lift my right arm when I want to.
So we're in a simulator.
Why? Oh, but you just told me that the ending is already determined because I don't have free will.
We're in a simulator.
So, as I should have expected, your answers to everything that I've put forward, everything that I've explained is, but it's a simulation, but it's a simulator. That's your answer. You don't have anything where you could say, listen, how do you explain deja vu? Because the simulation has run multiple times and has bleed over from a previous simulation. How do you explain things in the sky that people see? Well, they're seeing glitches in what they remember based off of previous versions where there was a different ending to the simulation. You could have gone with arguments like that. But instead, what you said is, no, you were just told to believe that. People that go to church are told what they're supposed to believe. Do they do exactly what they're told in church?
Definitely not.
Okay.
But
so just because you're told something doesn't mean you automatically do it. That's free will. In your interpretation, my lack of ability to be able to raise my hand without somebody telling me from some sort of input or from a script that my hand has to be raised means I don't have free will, which means I don't have choices. They've already been all pre-programmed.
Have you ever asked AI if we're living in a simulation?
No. What does AI say?
It's too long to read. It really spat out some craziness.
Well, we've got time. Just give us the first two sentences.
The idea that we might be living in a simulation is a fascinating topic that has been explored in both philosophy and science. This concept often referred to as the simulation hypothesis, suggests that our reality could be an artificial situation, such as a computer simulation created by a more advanced civilization. That's
okay.
The first paragraph.
Did you use Chat GPT for that, or did you use Bard?
Neither. Use Copilot.
Okay. Because what Gemini says, asking the AI Gemini, I will read the first paragraph as well. Listen closely to the last sentence. The question of whether we live in a simulation is a fascinating one, and it has captured the imagination of many people, including some prominent scientists and philosophers. However, there is currently no scientific evidence to support the idea that we are living in a simulation.
So says the simulation.
So AI, which is mimicking the human idea of free will, is all run by a simulation.
Yeah, but it's actually not, because it's just pulling information that's already been pre-populated on the internet.
And according to you, it has all been scripted to be there. Because there was no free will to be able to create the internet. The internet was always going to be created when it was created.
Mm-hmm.
And in other versions of the simulation, they used water to transfer the information.
It could have been water, could have been known as something else. Who knows?
They called it the water net.
They could have called it liquid gorilla fun.
Liquid Gorilla Fun has a completely different interpretation when you say it that way. And I think we just found out what we're going to put up on Urban Dictionary today. UrbanDictionary.com. Let's see if anybody has put Liquid Gorilla Fun into Urban Dictionary. Has anybody found it? Sorry, we couldn't find it. Okay. I will define it after the show is over because we don't have enough time to be able to put that definition in there. But I promise you, by tomorrow, Liquid Gorilla Fun is both going to be the title of this episode and will be on Urban Dictionary.
That was an unforeseen outcome where my brain just said whatever.
You have a bad habit of doing that, Yolanda. Oh, yeah, I went back there. I would like to point out, though, earlier, though, I said something, and you shrugged your shoulders.
Oh, because nobody
can see it. Okay? So if we do live in a simulation, multiple times today, you've shown that you are dumb in this simulation.
I did ask Copilot to define Liquid Gorilla Fun.
And it said?
The Liquid Gorilla Fun, the ultimate adventure. Imagine a world where gorillas have discovered the secret to liquid fun. No, it's not a new energy drink or a bizarre jungle smoothie. It's a magical potion that turns every day into a wild adventure.
Okay. So somebody right now over in Microsoft Copilot is looking at what you just said and writing to somebody out just outside the simulation and say, please turn him off. And what I'm really worried about is my browser history right now. Because I, at some point, am going to have to explain to my wife why exactly it says Liquid Gorilla Fun in my browser history.
I just realized I used my work account, not my personal account, to search for that.
And Urban Dictionary will allow you to do Giphy now on it. So you can put a GIF
really?
with it. Yes. I think there's going to be some dicks out for Harambe stuff that's going to come back today.
For Harambe. Dicks out for Harambe.
Wow. We got a little bit off track. I don't know how to get this back on track.
I don't either, but man, I'm glad we got an Urban Dictionaryism out of this.
Yes. So I am going to read the last paragraph of what Gemini put together for Do We Live in a Simulation? Ultimately, the question of whether we believe we live in a simulation is a matter of personal belief. There is no right or wrong answer, and each person will have to decide for themselves what they believe. So, what Gemini said is we have the free will to choose whether we believe it or not. And in your version of the simulation, free will does not exist.
I hate that a little bit because it's just basically equating everything to religion. Right? I mean, more or less, it's like believe what you want to believe. That was a good one.
Drink time. Hold on. Entertain the crowd while I get something in my throat. Wait, hold on. I'm just going to take down some Liquid Gorilla Fun here.
Hopefully it's not banana flavored. Oh, man. Tell you what, I can digress for a minute because we're where we are. So buying a new house. Just going to talk about this for a moment because I want to. It yields so many unique challenges. You heard of some of it today on a meeting you and I had with our little rat problem.
Do you want to talk about the rat problem and then we'll go to your next piece, or we talk about the rat problem afterwards? Because I think I came up with the perfect solution to the rat problem.
Okay.
So do you want to talk about your thing first, and we'll come back to how to solve your rat problem?
Got it. So, have the rat problem, have a little bit of a cockroach problem. All of this stems from the next door neighbor. But on our evening walk with the dog, a new situation arose, and that is the nosy, chatty neighbor who has now flagged down my husband and me and us together all in a day and a half to ask us whatever's in his mind and proceed to do small chat for no less than 10 minutes each time. And I'm not a good small chat person.
First of all, it's called small talk.
Small talk. Sorry, but I'm a little fatigued. I'm not good at it. I can do it for a bit, but I get exhausted, and I actually get visually disinterested. And this is a brand new neighbor, and I'm trying to play nice. And
I'm going to tell you, I think that's bullshit. I think you choose when you don't want to participate in it, because I've seen you participate in long amounts of small talk while we were supposed to be leaving places to be able to go to other places.
At work?
Yes. Remember when we had the office party and we were going to go to that bar afterwards? And for a half an hour, we were trying to convince you to leave because we had to go to that other bar. You pick and choose when you get bored of small talk, and it's boredom.
But I know those people in that circumstance. I knew those.
But it was still small talk. You can't blame it on the small talk. You're just not interested in the person that you're having the small talk with.
Yeah. That's fair. But I mean, okay, I see your point. Fair. I'll give you that. But this guy won't stop.
Yeah, so that's why you have to have a ringer on your phone. Because that way you can text yourself, it vibrates or it rings, and then you can say, I got to take this and walk away.
I messed that up for myself because he said, I'll give you my number. Do you have your phone? And I was like, no.
So now you can't pull out your phone or he's going to want your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do is you have to say, oh, smell that. Damn it. I left the stove on.
I got to think of something. In the moment, we were both stuck because Dan was like, oh, I don't have my phone. Do you have your phone? I was like, nope. And we were both like, shit. We didn't help each other here.
There's lots of things. Oh, look at the size of that rat. We've got to follow it.
Oh, he was already talking about the rat population.
Yeah, but that gives you look, there's one now, and it's huge. I got to go see this, and then run away.
Look over there.
Or what you do is you say, I'm sorry, but you're annoying as fuck, and I don't want to be part of this conversation anymore.
But this is where it's kind of along those lines, a little funny. So there's these two guys coming up, and one of them says, oh, is this a gay meetup on the corner? Because we happen to be on the corner. And you could tell very quickly that they were like, we're going to introduce ourselves to these new guys, and we're going to move on in hopes that they will get the hint that they should also move on with us. Nope. Because they know Chatty Cathy is chatty. So they were in and out of the conversation in 30 seconds.
Because they had a plan. You just have to leave the house with a plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. We have something we're going to tonight. We've really got to get to it. So we'll talk to you another time. Bye. Don't even wait for Chatty Cathy to become Chatty Karen. Just leave.
Yeah. I just got to get better because that was bad. Anyway, rat problem. Go.
Yes. Okay. So we talked a little bit about this, but I've evolved this since we talked about it in the meeting earlier. Okay. I referred to it as the DC rat sniper. Okay. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But I fixed it. Okay. What you need to do is you need to get an old Caprice Classic and take out the lock out of the trunk.
A Chevy Capri?
Yeah,
Okay.
Caprice Classic. Because that's, was it that or a Crown Vic that the DC Sniper used?
I think it was Crown Vic.
Okay, well, Crown Vic, you've got to put that hole in the trunk so that the rats don't know where the shot's coming from. And then you take your BB gun, and every time you see a rat, you just put one between its eyes.
But we talked about what if they're cannibalistic and the pile of dead rats is actually attractive to them.
Then there's more to shoot at.
I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of single-handedly taking down the rat population of DC. I don't know that there's a lot though. There's a ton.
Yeah, so I realize that BB supplies in the greater DC area are probably going to be diminished for a while. But
we have a Walmart. We're fine.
Because the last thing that I think you should do is actually go get an AR-15, because that's a spray and pray weapon.
No, you got to go for accuracy.
Yes. In a BB gun with a lot of pumps to it, you can get some pretty good accuracy out of that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, God, we had a pump action when I was growing up, and that was very effective.
And here's the thing. Most of those rats are in your neighbor's backyard.
Yeah.
So as the pile of rat carcasses starts to grow, she's going to become the embarrassment of the neighborhood, and she's finally going to have to do something about it.
Otherwise, she's just going to have a pile of dead rats.
Right. And eventually the city's going to get involved because they don't want a giant pile of rotting dead rats in somebody's backyard. It's a great solution.
I don't mind that part. I guess that part really works because it's a health hazard.
Yes. So you're forcing her to make change that she should be making anyways.
Be the change that you want to be.
Yes.
Or see in the world.
See, I can be a positive force because I believe I have free will to be able to come up with inventive solutions to rudimentary problems.
This simulation's great.
The simulation right now is telling you no matter where you go, there's going to be rats and chatty Cathy's.
So far, it's been true.
Yes. So the simulation is not coming up all Ryan right now, is it?
Not because of the rat. Well, also because I also have like a plumbing nightmare at my other house in Texas. Like
Okay.
$1,200 later. Anyway.
So what you're saying, what you're saying is you'd rather not be in a simulation right now because that means that somebody hasn't scripted that you're going to go through this much bullshit right now.
Well, you never asked me if I wanted to be in it or not. This is the first time you've just asked me that.
But you don't have the free will to determine if you want to be in it based off of the way that you've portrayed this.
But you never asked me.
Okay, but by asking you, have I given you free will?
I don't know.
Because you can only have free will if you can escape the simulation.
Maybe that's the only thing that allows you to escape the simulation.
Do you want some Coricidin HBP? The red pills?
As long as it helps with my need for an expectorant.
It definitely does. Because I'm expectoranting all over this microphone right now.
Yes, you are. Oh my God, you are. I'll take two.
Okay, Ryan, get us out of this hellhole we're in.
Yeah, well, thank you everyone and thanks for the patience. We've had some ups and downs recently, so appreciate again the patience. And love to hear if you think we are in a simulation or not. So repressedhumorissues@gmail.com. Would love to actually understand where you stand on this hotbedded issue. Is it hotbedded?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody really cares.
Probably not.
They don't have free will to care anyways, according to you. So
that's right.
Up.
Okay. Well, Dan, can you please help us TikTok and chill?
I asked my gay homosexual husband, who is gay and homosexual and also gay, if we could have our honeymoon here at the Detroit Airport Chili's, and he said no. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, what do you mean? Like, what would we even do for our honeymoon? I said we would sit at this Chili's for 12 hours, unbothered, having refills of Diet Coke and so much bottomless queso dip and French fries and all the sides of ranch you could ever imagine. And he still said no, and we ended up going to Puerto Vallarta, which was fine. But every time I walk by this Chili's, I just think of what could have been.
I got to figure out a way to come up with the definition for liquid gorilla fun.
You just need to come up with an AI image for liquid gorilla fun.
You are so getting banned.
I'm gonna get banned again. I'm gonna get banned. You know how many times can I fight a ban? If I got banned again, this would be my 4th ban.
I'm just going to reference it for the definition as when a very hairy guy decides it's time to masturbate. With the sample sentence being, uh-oh, Jerry's having some liquid gorilla fun again.